holy name. We celebrated the feast of the holy name of Jesus, and I hail from a parish. I grew up in a parish called Holy Name of Mary. So it's about a name, and the baptism of Jesus we celebrate tomorrow. Baptism, normally the time when we get our name, a baptismal name, if we are baptized, but we get our given name. Uh, I've always been happy with Michael, which is Michael, uh, Hebrew for who is like God. By the way, that's not a relative clause. That's a question. Who is like God? So lest I get any ideas. Um, then those of us who are Catholic get a confirmation name. Mine is Anthony. My middle name is Kevin. Uh, then as Roshi just said, I was a Carthusian monk. I got a religious name for 22 years. I was Dom Bruno because I was born on his feast day. So you have all these names. And then, we get Dharma names. Sometimes when we take Jukai, we get a Dharma name already. I got my Dharma name when I became a teacher. A sensei in Koryu, another K, it's like Kevin. Koryu, which means, as you may know, a dragon of light or bright dragon in Japanese. There are nicknames and fond names, perhaps names that, we have between spouses and friends that capture a little bit, maybe a little more deeply and intimately who we are. I mean, how many of these names and to what extent do they capture who we are? Indeed, who are we? Um, their vocation changes, kind of like my Don Bruno. In the scriptures, people get new names when they take on new functions or they go deeper into their true identity. Abram becomes Abraham, Saul becomes Paul, uh, Simon becomes Peter. So there are changes and continual deepenings of names and who we are. Look at the Buddha himself. Siddhartha Gautama, who was called Shakyamuni, meaning his clan, another way of designating a person, reminds you of many of the Zen masters like Joshu were known by their city rather than by their name. So, hi, I'm New York, or hi, I'm Jersey City. What does that capture exactly? The Buddha, of course, the name simply means the one who's awake or who is enlightened, and that gets a little closer to who he really is and who we really are. But none of those capture it. Even Jesus is this human. Jesus is Christ's human name, meaning God saves. But our functional name is never our deepest name. Anyway, I like to refer to this white pebble, this little white stone, which I picked up when I became a monk in Vermont more than 50 years ago. At the entrance to the monastery, I picked up this stone, and I've kept it for more than 50 years because, for me, it symbolizes what it says in the book of Revelation towards the beginning, chapter 2. It says, the one who conquers, I will give a white stone with a name inscribed, which only the person knows who receives it. And of course, there's no name inscribed because, well, you can't pronounce it. And we'll come back to that point. In the following chapter, Jesus says to his followers, "I will write the name of my God on the forehead. If you like the chakra, the third eye. I will write the name of my God and the name of the city of my God." So the whole group, the Sangha, if you will, and my own new name. So not Jesus, but something deeper. And in fact, towards chapter 19 of that same book of Revelation, it speaks about the one on the white horse, Jesus coming, and it says, again, he has a name inscribed, which only he knows. But then it adds a couple other names a few lines later, saying he's called the Word of God. It goes a little deeper. Or King of Kings and Lord of Lords, again, more functional. But all these are names, but none capture the ultimate reality, do they? Two of my favorite koans from the book of from the Blue Cliff record have to do with names and who we are, and I'd like to cite them. Um, a very short koan, number 68, and I'm going to change the Chinese names to American names just so you get the point a little more clearly. So uh, Bill asks Jack, "What's your name?" And Jack says, "I'm Bill." Jack says, "I'm Bill." And Bill says, "I'm Bill." And Jack says, "Well, I'm Jack." And they both laugh because they're interchangeable. Jack is Bill and Bill is Jack. We're connected and we can exchange names because we are one another. We are our neighbor. Love your neighbor, you are your neighbor. Uh, and they laughed. Of course, it's because it's delightful. It's funny. It's amusing and humorous and support. It lifts us up. And that's the whole koan. Their laughter is the end of the koan. And then toward the very beginning, chapter number 7, Wei Chao asks about the Buddha, and the monk asks, Wei Chao asks the master, "What is Buddha?" You know where this is going, right? So the master says, "You are Wei Chao." So you are Wei Chao. You say you're affirming the name, but on the other hand, it's you are the Buddha Wei Chao. You're not just Wei Chao, you're the Buddha. Some translations even have Wei Chao as echo, like echo. You are an echo of the Buddha, but we're more than just an echo. We're more than just in the image of God. We are created to be it itself. So those are really good koans, and that interchangeability of the names. It reminds me of the wonderful, wonderful story from Rumi, where the monk is meditating in the woods, and then he knocks on the door of the beloved, the cabin of the beloved, and the beloved takes many forms, absolute and relative. So anyway, he knocks on the door, and the beloved says, "Who's there?" Trick question, of course. And he says, "It's me." And the voice from inside says, "Get out of here. Go back to the woods." So he comes back a year later and knocks on the door. "Who's there?" "It's you." Which is right. You are the Buddha. You are Wei Chao. You are Jack. You are Bill. You are it. But none of these names can be pronounced. I'm going to come back to this really important point. This appears a couple of times in the scriptures when people are meeting angels. So when Jacob wrestles with the angel, remember that famous scene? He wrestles with the angel all night in chapter 32 of the book of Genesis. And they wrestle all day. And then in the morning, the angel blesses him and gives him a new name, by the way, right then and there. He says, "You're no longer Jacob, but you're Israel because you've wrestled with God." It's a good name for all of us. Israel means one who wrestles with God, and I guess that should be true of us all. Anyway, then Jacob asks the angel, "What's your name?" And the angel says, "Why do you ask?" It's a refusal, partly because in the ancient world, if you know somebody's name, you can control them. It's like magic. There's a deeper reason, because the name can't be pronounced. Certainly angels' names can't be pronounced in human language. And that's even clearer in the book of Judges. Manoah, the father of the soon-to-be father of Samson, has a meeting with an angel who announces his son's birth. And as the angel, same thing, he asks the angel what at the end of the conversation, "What's your name?" And the angel says, "Why do you ask?" "It's too wonderful." Phile in Hebrew, which is a word which means magnificent, wonderful. So my name is too wonderful. It would blow your mind. It can't be pronounced. But that's true of all of us. All of our names, all of our many names, at best, are simply a prismatic reflection of the the radiant diamond that we are, which is beyond all color and beyond all name. So we come back to Bodhidharma at the beginning of the book Serenity, that wonderful meeting he had with the emperor when he got to China. And remember the two questions the emperor asks him. Well, what are the holy truths? And Bodhidharma says, "No holy, empty, empty." Because all these things that can be enunciated and put forth are empty. All empty, of course, because it's all the fullness. But then he asks the famous question, "Who are you who are standing before me?" And you remember what Bodhidharma says. "I don't know," which is the right answer. So anytime you think you know who you are, you're not. "I don't know" is the right answer. And that's because all the other names are empty and can't be your true name can't be pronounced. So when somebody asks your name, throw them for a loop and say, "I don't know." See where that gets you at the DMV. But that's the important reality of who you are. So even Roshi, Sensei, all these are empty. I remember when Roshi made me a Sensei in 2009. Janet Abels was there, who's now Roshi, and at the beginning of the ceremony before he went out, she said, "Remember, all this is empty," which of course is totally true. As soon as you hold on to a title, father or whatever it might be, you're doomed, because especially that, because then the ego can really latch onto that, as who you really are in the world, and of course it's not. So what does it feel like when you discover who you really are? If you do, hopefully. It feels enormously expansive, including everything. The Buddha, which itself also includes everything. Remember when the Buddha was enlightened, when he saw the morning star? Here we are in Morningstar. He said, "I and all beings, the great earth, have all found a way." So he was united to everything. That's who he was, who he is. Or as Dogen says very well, you study the self, you forget the self, and then you are united to the 10,000 things. You become the dragon, which is everything, which is the whole universe. So that's how you know when you discover your real name or who you really are. When your heart explodes, your mind, also is blown apart, and your whole being expands to the dimensions of the universe. That's who you are. The one immortal diamond, which is the whole universe. The one jewel, as the koans say, the whole universe is one jewel. And you are it. Thank you.